Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Boker Tov. Welcome to our Hebrew class. We're going to continue discussing some of the basics on how to study the Bible from a Hebraic perspective by learning the language of Hebrew. And we're going to have a couple of things that we can conversate about today. Let's start with a word of prayer. Start with a word of prayer, not the alphabet. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father and our King, we thank you, Abba, for blessing us, Lord God, with the eyes that you've given us to see, the ears you've given us to hear, the heart to understand the Word of God. We thank you, Lord God, that you've given us your Word in Hebrew, the language of Ivri, the holy tongue, Lashon HaKodesh. We pray today, Lord God, you will continue to enlighten us and illuminate us and allow us to be familiar with the language that we are learning today, and that we would speak that language to reveal that Yeshua is the Messiah, to fulfill the Torah, the prophets, the writings, and especially give us the Brit Hadashah, New Covenant. In Yeshua's name we pray. B'Shem Yeshua. Amen. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Let's review our Aleph Beit as we've been doing. 5 letters at a time. Take a short breath for the next 5. Take another short breath for the next 5 until you get to 22 total letters. We'll have 2 at the end after that 4th breath. And let's go ahead and start on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samet, Ayin, Pei, Sadi, Kuf, Resh, Shin, Tav. Very good. So these are consonant letters. How many did we count? We actually recited 22. So we do 5 letters at a time with 2 at the end. The vowels are a little different. The vowels actually work the way you see on the left side with the letter Aleph as an example, and the letter Aleph is silent, so it's easiest to be used for understanding how the vowels work. We have our A, E, I, O, and U vowel, that is A, E, I, O, and U. And so we can see that there are different ways to mark vowels. The number one way to understand the vowels is lines underneath a consonant letter, usually, for the most part, refer to an A sound, or the letter A, the vowel A. And multiple dots underneath the letter. Any form of multiple dots usually will give us an E vowel pronounced E. 1 dot underneath the letter, like the dot on top of an I, lowercase I, is going to give us an I vowel pronounced E. So far we have I, A, E. And majority of the time, the number one way you'll see a O or a U is through the Vav, the letter Vav, which would normally be a V. And the Vav with the dot on top is an O sound. The dot on the side would be a U sound, the U. So we usually remember that by the dot on top being like a bird in the air, and we say, oh, look at that bird in the air. And the dot on the side, like a woman's purse, we say, ooh, look at that woman's nice purse. So you're talking about the difference between the Cholam or Cholam Vav and the Shuruk. The Shuruk is the dot on the side of the Vav. So let's just quickly pronounce our vowels. A, E, I, O, U would be A, E, O, U. We'll sound that out 3 times, okay? 1, 2, 3. A, E, O, U. One more time. A, E, O, U. Last time. A, E, O, U. All right. So if we have lines under a letter, what sound should we hear? 1 dot. E. Multiple dots. Vav with a dot on the side. E. On the side. Ooh. Remember that? Ooh, look at that nice purse on the side. So that little dot on the side looks like a woman's purse on the side of the Vav. And then the dot on top of the Vav. Oh, very good. What if there's a dot floating in the air without the Vav? It's still up. Oh, right. Okay, so those are the major ways that we remember the vowels. Again, there's a lot of incidentals, but that's the number one way. Okay, then we learned about the Beged Kefat letters, that special rules are used for 6 letters, the Beit, the Gimel, the Dalet, the Kaf, the Pei, and the Tav. It used to be that, I see in English I'm missing 1 letter there. Yes, the letter Kaf, I'm missing that K there. There should be a K in between there. But these letters, the Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Vav, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Kaf, Pei, and Tav. It used to be if there was the dagesh in the center here, you see this dagesh? The dot in the center of the letter, it gave it a hard pronunciation. Without it, it's softened. So the letter Beit becomes Veit, or the B to a V sound. Abraham would be Avraham, not Abraham with a B, Avraham with a V. So that remains true today in modern Hebrew. It used to be that all 6 letters had a changing sound. Today the Beit changes, the Gimel and the Dalet do not. It used to be the Gimel would be Gimel, Gimel. And you hear that among Yemenite Jews with a lot of Arabic influence. But we don't know if in the ancient Hebrew when it changed, but obviously at some point there was just a strengthening of the Gimel to always be a G sound. And then the Dalet to always be a D, although without the Dagesh, it does soften a little bit to a soft D, as in David. The first D in David is strong. The last D is soft, David. You don't hear the last D as much. Kaf does change. Kaf turns into Haf, Haf, Haf. Everyone's pronounced Kaf? Kaf. What sound is that?
Kaf.
Kaf, what sound is that? K sound. Without the dagesh, it would be Chaf, either spelled CH or KH, and that would be the same as the letter Chet. You have to have chutzpah to say that. The letter Chet and the Chaf or Chaf Sofit actually has a softer K sound to a KH or CH in transliteration. The letter Pei does change also. Letter Pei will turn to F, right? Pei will be Fei. So we actually see that in words like, in English, the Philippines doesn't retain the P sound, but PH softens it to an F. So sometimes you'll see it transliterated as PH without the dagesh, or an F. Aleph, A-L-E-P-H, or in Israeli transliteration, A-L-E-F. In Spanish, the same thing. You'll see Psalm 119, all 18 verses, all 176 verses are broken down 8 verses at a time in this wonderful psalm, of Psalm 119. And it's an acrostic. The reason there's a Hebrew letter of the alphabet for every 8 verses is because those 8 verses start with a word that's spelled with that letter all the way down. You'll never see that in English, you'll only see it in Hebrew. In English, they just stick in your Bible, Aleph for the first 8 verses, Beit, the second, all the way down. So that's interesting to notice that there are ways that letters have been pronounced over the years, sometimes incorrectly, and even spelled. So the last one is Tav, and that one should be a strong T or a softer T without the Tav. In fact, Ashkenazi Hebrew changes it to an S from Tav to Saf. So Shabbat would be Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. That's that German influence. A good, like Guten Tag, good day. Good Shabbos means have a good Sabbath. Equal to have a peaceful Sabbath for Shabbat Shalom. Peaceful. Shabbat would be a Shabbat of peace or Shalom. Okay. So we see that the Tav should retain its strong T sound in Hebrew. If you're Yemenite, you might have a different. A softer TH sound, very soft TH, not a strong Americanized TH like in the word the. But we see that without the Tav, it would be a little bit softer. Primarily, you don't hear it in modern Israeli Hebrew as much. You don't really hear the change. So only 3 of these letters change. In the way they sound, not to be confused with the way they're written. Question?
Okay, so with the dagesh, it's without it, it's what?
Yes, absolutely. So what you have is, if we go back to the letter Beit, we say it's Beit or Beit, B or V. So without the dagesh, you see the second form, without the dagesh, the dot in the center, it's going to be a V sound. Okay. And we see that the same thing with Kaf becomes Chaf. And the final form looks like an elongated Dalet, not to be confused with the 4th letter Dalet, but you see the Chaf Sofit, third one in. You have the Kaf with the dagesh, the Chaf without it, and Chaf Sofit. Sofit means ending. the way you'll remember it is the word suffix. Suffix is something at the end of the word. So suf and sof are probably connected somehow from ancient languages. So maybe the Latin form came directly from the Hebrew, which means end. Sof means end. Okay. So we see that the kaf without the dagesh becomes chaf, and you would call the last form chaf sofit. Now sofit means it's at the end of a word, which means there are 5 letters that change at the end of the word. So for instance, we have none in the first 5, no sofit in the second 5. But when we get to the 11th letter, it's our first sofit letter, and that's the 3rd form you see here from reading here from left to right, even though we read right from Hebrew from right to left. It's chaf sofit. It looks completely different. Imagine the C-looking letter, backward C, the bottom dropped out and went straight, and that's at the end. The mem is the next letter, that's a sofit letter, and you see the second form. It looks just like a box with a little curlicue on the top, a little roof or awning there. So this letter, mem, which is an ancient symbol of water, is where we get the M from, right?
What does it do at the end? I don't understand.
What does it do at the end?
You're
It changes
saying-
form.
Are you talking about suffixes, right?
We're talking about sofit. So mem sofit, mem, it looks like the first form. At the end of a word, it always looks like the second form. Sofit just means ending. There are 5 letters that change their look at the end of a word.
But
It only changes look, it doesn't change sound.
Okay.
You know that from shalom.
I know Greek is a letter.
No, well, I've never thought of it, so.
Oh. Well, this is
It's
something
easy
we
to
go
have
over quite often, the change in the letter. Even when we used to not have the projector, we used to always write it on the board, and I'd show you the different forms. The different form is only at the end of the word. Anywhere else in the word, it's going to be a normal mem. The second one is only at the end. So shalom is not spelled with the first form, it's spelled with the second form, shalom. Shalom. And so the moment you see that, you know that that is something that was created later on. Ancient Hebrew didn't have these forms. This is just so we would know the end of a word. One of the reasons for that is because in the ancient text, you didn't have commas, you didn't have periods, you didn't have exclamation points, you didn't have question marks. So it looked like just a slew of letters slammed together. So one of the ways the Masoretes that helped us understand how to pronounce the letters indicated there was a break, was they'd say, well, let's put a final form, a different form of this letter at the end so that we can know it breaks the word from the next set of letters coming up, which is a whole nother word. So that was just a way to indicate the difference. Okay, so it was something created in our modern forms of Hebrew, not in the ancient pictographical look of the ancient text. Because remember, Hebrew has changed over the years the way it looks. This is the kind of the printed font that you see here. If you were to write in Hebrew, most of the time you're going to use a cursive form, and it doesn't even look anything like that. It kind of looks like some of the letters look exactly the same, but slanted, like you would basically when you're doing handwriting, you do it on a slant versus writing straight up and down. But that is the final form. The same thing with the letter nun. The nun in the first one, you see nun, and then nun sofit at the end. So you can see again, it's like the bottom little footing of the nun drops down below the writing line. So you see that in all the letters except for the mem. The mem just kind of closes in the box. But the chaf sofit, the nun sofit, and then when we go to the next 5 letters, we see we have pe sofit, or fe sofit, and sadi sofit. So again, you see the letter pe with the dagesh, fe without the dagesh, and in the final form, the whole bottom part goes straight down. It's like both of them are just trying to say, the buck stops here, we're ending it right here, like a nail in the ground. And the same thing with sadi. You see the sadi, the whole bottom just unfolds and goes straight down. So that's a high indicator that you're looking at a closing letter of a word, an in letter, okay?
How do you pronounce the second sadi?
It's the same. Sadi. It's a noisy S. TZ, basically, you're starting to pronounce a T, but you go into a Z, which is really more like a noisy S. Everyone do that. The word for commandment is mitzvah. Say mitzvah. You ever want to remember how it sounded? Just say mitzvah, but just say mitz.
Mitz.
You know that you put on mitts on your hand? Mitts?
Mitz.
Not the same as more of an S as in snake, but it's a little more noisy. So mitzvah. A mitzvah is a commandment, or sometimes translated as a good deed in Judaism. So mitzvah, get that in there, and pronounce sadi. Sadi. Which sometimes it's called sadiq, by putting another letter at the end to make sadiq, because sadiq is a righteous person. So they call this the righteous one, sadiq. Normally sadi is seen as a fish hook, is in an ancient pictogram. So, pictographs, excuse me. And then we see that that's the last final form. And so we'll move on to now looking at, I think I'm going to move beyond the Shiva and the Dagesh for today. And I want to pick up with a statement we looked at of Yeshua in John 14:6. We have, I am the way, the truth, and the life. The word for I, for both males and females, is ani. Everyone say ani. Ani. So you say ani, I. Everyone say ani. Okay, you just said I. Am is understood. You don't need it in Hebrew. There is no way to pronounce or say I am, which is the verb to be, in the present tense. It doesn't exist. Now, don't get that confused with God's divine statement, I am that I am, which is really I will be who I will be. Our English tries to capture the meaning but cannot really capture it correctly. There is no I am that I am. It's I will be who I will be. It's a verb of the past, was, translated future tense, I will be. So God was saying, don't try to get me to give you a name of who I am, because I'll be who I want to be. Basically what he's saying is, what you're about to see of me, you've never seen before. You're going to see 10 plagues come down, you're going to see a side of me you've never known, because Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob knew me as El Shaddai, the God who is sufficient and more than enough. But you're never going to probably see this one this dramatic again, until maybe when we get the last book written, called the Book of Revelation. And that's where we see the plagues coming down again, in a sense, during the tribulation period.
So how do you pronounce the present tense of I am? When they ask Yeshua, who are you looking for? They say Yeshua, and he says, I am. How do you pronounce it? It's a present tense.
Remember, we only have Greek. We don't have the Hebrew text anymore. Of, say, Matthew, we have a floating around translation of it. So we really don't know exactly what he said. We don't know if he said Eye, which is what God said to Moses in Exodus 6. It's a little bit of a guess. Whenever you say statements like this, I am the way, am is not pronounced. There is no am. It doesn't exist. It doesn't. It's a question of utility. It doesn't exist in Hebrew. It's understood that when I say I, and then I tell you a description of who I am, in English we have to say I am so-and-so, I am a teacher. You don't have to say that in Hebrew. It's an ancient language. The English was created later. So we're trying to go backwards and make Hebrew fit English. It doesn't work that way. It wasn't needed. It was added into English because it was needed.
To understand it.
Only from our perspective. I mean, remember, they understood it just as well without it. Why did we need it? It's just time developed. We need a lot of things. Look at our world. Imagine the day you didn't need a cell phone, but now you can't live without it. And back in my day, it was the pager before the cell phone. I can't even remember what it was like to have to go to a phone booth after having a pager. But then after having a cell phone, the idea of a pager is obsolete. It doesn't make any sense. So I mean, we went from the big phone to the littlest phone to back to the bigger phones, and we keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger with our phones. Eventually, we're going to go back to the whole big phone again. I mean, I went from the medium-sized iPad to the small iPad, the mini, and then I go to the Pro. And I'm just like, okay, I guess and then you tell yourself, oh, I love this one, it's so little and small. And now you're like, I love this one, it's so big. I mean, our needs vary because we're humans.
It's a circle.
Yes.
So basically, in their understanding, at their time, they only had to say I the way, and everyone knew it.
Yes, you say I and you give yourself a description. So, for instance, perfect example. In English, we have, in English Bibles, Jesus Christ. First of all, Jews don't even understand. What do you mean Jesus Christ? First and last name? Well, if you would have had kids, would you have like Johnny Christ and Jennifer Christ and, Janice Christ? I mean, no. Christ is a neuter form of the Greek Christos. You have to have the same chutzpah to say it in Greek. Christos. It gets neutered in English as Christ. Instead of pronouncing the CH with a sound, as Greek also retains. It is a translation for Mashiach, which is translated into Aramaic and then English as Messias, and then Messiah in English. So then what you have is the Hebrew translated into Greek way before Yeshua was ever born in what's known as the Septuagint. First in the writings of the Torah, then the rest of the prophets and writings. You even have it translated into Aramaic also. Aramaic, then into Greek. And so in a Greek town, the synagogue in a Greek town would actually use the Septuagint for the translation of the Hebrew text. Not saying they didn't have the Torah, they would have to have a translator. In the days of Ezra, they had to translate into Aramaic because they had lived in Babylon for 70 years and they had learned the Aramaic or Babylonian language. So you see that there's a lot of things that we're doing to try to scale back to the original, but then move forward and understand the difference. So when you're looking at I am the way, the truth, and the life, you say ani, and then you put the prefix hey in front of the word derek, which means the way, and the prefix hey in front of the word derek means the way. So we found out that 22 letters in Hebrew, 11 of them can be prefixes. Half of them can be prefixes. The letter hey in front of a word with a corresponding vowel is going to give me the. It's going to make it definite. Okay? So ani, haderech, ve'ha'emet, ve'ha'chaim. I am the way and the truth and the life. Okay, so that's the statement in the Hebrew text. In fact, I got that directly from the Hebrew English Bible that I got from Israel, which is by the Israel Bible Society that translates it. Usually they have an English translation of either the New King James or New American Standard. I have both, and then also the Hebrew text. So this is the way Israelis would understand Yeshua's words perfectly in a vernacular very close to the Torah and the prophets, the Tanakh. So this is the statement. Any questions on that? I don't know if I completely answered that other question fully. Was there still another question about I am? Because you asked the last question, right? Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other questions on looking at how we're translating Yeshua's words? Because again, we're having to give the closest possible meaning in Hebrew today compared to what we know from the Aramaic text, from the Greek text, even how our English has been translated, and then try to use our best use of translating from the Torah directly if Yeshua is quoting the Torah. If he's quoting Isaiah or Jeremiah, we're going back to the original Hebrew as best as we have today from the Masoretic text. Okay? So, this is the statement of John 14:6. Now, similar statement is found in John 11:25, Yochanan 11:25. I am the resurrection and the life. So we have a toast that we give when we have the fruit of the vine. In fact, how many know the blessing? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Amen. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, Creator of the fruit of the vine. Amen. L'chaim. What does l'chaim mean? To life. The lamed for the L for l'chaim means two or four. It's a prefix. So chayim is what we saw just a minute ago.
Life.
Chachayim versus l'chaim. So we're saying the life here, but we say l'chaim, to life or for life. So the prefix lamed is for the word el. El, two or four. So, Vadaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. What did I just say? Vadaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, and Adonai spoke to the Lord, saying, or Hashem spoke to the Lord, saying. So here we have Hachaim. We have two prefixes here. We have the letter Vav. What's the Vav in front of the word mean? And. So the Vav is and the Hey is the. So we have two letters that are not real words really by themselves. They're just letters in the Hebrew alphabet used as a prefix. Does anybody remember the pictograph of the Vav?
Hook.
Hook, very good. So we have a hook, which and is a conjunction that hooks two things together. So we put the Vav on the second word. If we're trying to hook two words together, put it on the second word. So here we have Haderek ve ha'emet. And the truth, and the life. So we're hooking them together by that Vav. And then the second prefix is the letter Hey, which is going to say the versus a truth and a life. Yeshua's not a truth. He's the truth. Why? Because he's the embodiment of the Torah of truth. He is the embodiment of the prophets who spoke the truth. Right? God was pleased with his works, we say in the prophet blessing, right? The Haftarah. And he's also fulfillment of all the writings, whether of David or Solomon or Ruth or Esther. He's the fulfillment of these writings, these royal writings that are usually considered historical and poetic books of the Older Testament. So we have the three parts of the Tanakh: the Torah, the prophets, the writings. The Tanakh is an acronym. Torah for the T of Tanakh. The N for prophets, Nevi'im. Nevi'im, a Navi is a prophet. Nevi'im is prophets. So Torah, Nevi'im, and then the last one, the writings, Ketuvim. Yeshua said in Luke 24, if you would have read the Torah and the prophets and the scriptures or writings, you would have known that everything I was teaching you was the truth. That the Messiah would have to suffer first before he enters into his glory. So it's interesting that the only scriptures that Yeshua ever had were the same that the Jewish people have today. So you know, a Jewish person doesn't need the New Testament to become a believer in Messiah. All they have to do is do what my Hebrew teacher did. You walk through by someone who believes in Yeshua and share all of the prophecies about Yeshua and let them read it in the Hebrew tongue for themselves and then ask them the question, what's that verse referring to? What's this verse referring to? What's this verse referring to? Most Israelis that are not even familiar with those verses, reading it at just surface level of Hebrew, would say, oh, that's the Mashiach. That's the Messiah. Oh, really? You think that verse is referring to Messiah? Oh, you're right in line with Rashi. He said the same thing. He said that's King Messiah. Guess what? That one riding on a donkey, he's King Messiah. That one who suffers, Messiah, Messiah, Messiah. And once you see the Messiah all the way through, you realize that the Mashiach is not just a Messiah, but the Messiah that the Jewish people have been waiting for to come. And the Messiah will come to us like rain, like the former and latter rain, Hosea 6:3 says. What that means is he'll come twice. Now that's not as clear in Judaism today, because they see that, well, a forerunner will come, but he's got to die. He's a suffering servant. But the real Messiah we're looking for to rule and reign forever on David's throne, he's going to be the son of David. The other guy, suffering servant, his life is like Joseph. So we'll call him the son of Joseph. It just happens that Yeshua's his adopted father's name, I say adopted because once he married Miriam, married that child that was not of his blood was now his child legitimately. It's like a legal adoption paper. You know the interesting thing about adoption? We sometimes put it down as a negative or lower than. But if I legally want you as my child, I must really want you as my child. Because sometimes kids just happen. But a child you adopt even has more love poured upon it because that child potentially is going to be loved more because they were chosen. You and I were adopted into God's family because we were chosen, right? Obviously, so was that Abraham, because the sonship or adoption started with the Jewish people. God adopted Abraham. Adopted him from the nations. He chose him. Guess what? He was chosen as an election of grace. Because he didn't earn it. He was chosen by grace. The same concept of you and I in the new covenant are chosen by grace. Abraham was chosen by grace. He did no works to earn his status. So this idea that Judaism is based on legalism is a kind of a perversion of the original Judaism of the Bible. Because it's not based upon coercion, it's not based upon obligation, it's not based upon legalism, it's based upon loyalty to one who has chosen you. So you're saved, then you work. Why? Because you're already saved. You're saved for good works. You're not doing them to be saved. You're doing them because you're saved. Because you have a different lifestyle now. So it's interesting when you look at statements like this, that he's not only the way and the truth, but he's the life. You take that same root for life, say chayim. Say chai. Now, I'm not trying to wave shalom chai to you, but chai means life. You see it around the neck of many Jewish people and even non-Jewish people today with the letters chet and yud, 2 letters, chet and yud, which would be a ch and a y. Then the vowels thrown in to make chai, usually spelled chai or chay by some. Most of the time chai. Chai means life in the singular. Chaim means life in plural. So what you have is, you have the root of chai as chaya. Everyone say chaya. Not to be confused with a softer H, chaya, as in Asher haya vehove ve'avo, who was and who is to come. That's with an H. C-H-A-Y-A-H. Chaya is the life as a verb root for to bring things alive. So what we have here is a statement, I am the resurrection, the life. So we have Chaim again, don't we? Yeshua is the life, Ha-Chaim. But before that, we have a word that seems to have a similar root, because we have Hiyah. We have a tav put in front of it as a prefix, Tehiyah, and this word means resurrection. Because the tav in front of it, as in tefillah, teshuvah, those kind of words, we put the tav in front of the root to kind of activate it into, or birth it into the reality of a noun, because the tav is X marks the spot. So when you want to make prayer not a verb but a noun, instead of halal being the root, we have tefillah, P becoming an F sound, tefillah. We have tehillah or tehillim, psalms or praises, right? Well, that comes from the same as hallelujah, hallel or halal, to praise. Tehillah means to turn praise into, from a verb to praise, into a noun. You're birthing it, okay, into the earth realm. That means instead of just giving life or being the life, it's the resurrection of life. Life coming alive again. So we have ani, everyone say ani? Ani. Now you're going to pronounce the tav with the prefix hat. Chia. Hat. It's one word, but it's going to have a lot of stuff here. Hat. Which is resurrection. Ani. Hatchia. Once you say it slow enough, then you can speed it up as you perfect it, okay? A little hard to say, but you can perfect it as you start from slow and speed up, okay? So, we have ways that we can communicate, like right now we're in a classroom, and if I wanted to say, the teacher is in the room, the teacher would also have a prefix. I lost my top there, sorry. There should be a line underneath that. Ha-more is the teacher. So more is what?
The teacher.
No, more is what? Teacher. Ha-more is the teacher. Ha-more. Notice I don't need am in I am, the way the truth of life. I don't need is either. It's a present tense form to be that doesn't exist in Hebrew. It's understood. I don't need is. So I just say the teacher. We'd have to literally put is in parentheses. The teacher in the room. The teacher? Oh, he's in the room.
A male teacher.
Yes, and to clarify, this is a male teacher. Ha-more. How would you say female teacher? The vowel would change to a ah sound. Ha-mora. The female teacher is in the room. So, more is a male teacher, mora is a female teacher. Notice the close relationship to Morah and Torah. The Torah is the Torah. So Torah is the instruction or teaching. Morah is the female teacher. So the teaching is the Torah. The teacher is the Morah or Moreh. So Morah and Torah. You see the same root. The root means to descend like rain. That's how teaching comes. It descends down from a teacher to a student. And so they use that root to descend down or to come down like rain as referring to the teaching of the teacher. And that's what Moses said. May my teaching come down like rain. So he's closing out the book of Deuteronomy. Okay. So, Hamoreh b'cheder. Cheder, I'm going to say pronounced cheder. Cheder is classroom.
Hamoreh b'cheder.
B'cheder. B'cheder. So you have to put the accent on cheder. Right? So then we have the statement Hatalmidim b'cheder, which is saying the students are in the room. Now, Talmidim are also disciples, aren't they? Because the root to learn, Talmid, from Lamed. The letter Lamed, see, Mid, Lamed is the root there. Lamad is the root. Lamed is the letter from the root. Okay? So here we have the letter Lamed from the root Lamad. If I want to take a present tense, I say Lomed. Lomed is I learn. Ani Lomed Ivrit. I am learning Hebrew. Ani Lomed Ivrit. Say that. Ani Lomed Ivrit. Women, thank you for describing something that a man can do. Thank you. But if you're a female, you're going to add an ET at the end. Lomedet. And you're going to keep the accent on the second syllable. So a woman would only say, Ani Lomedet Ivrit. I am learning Hebrew. So the same root, Lomed, from Lamad, is the same root as Talmidim. Remember that Tav that we kind of birthed it into the earth realm? The Tav in front of, here's the Lamed, the Mem, and the Dalet. That is the root for to learn. So Talmidim, Talmid, or even the Jewish writings of the Talmud. The Talmud is a teaching book. It's a learning book to learn what the teachers or the rabbis have taught us over the years about the Torah and about the prophets, the writings. So basically the Talmud, the Talmud, and Talmid are from the same root, to learn. Okay? So the teacher's in the room, the students are in the room. How do I say the students are in the room again?
Hatalmidim b'cheder.
Okay. Hatalmidim b'cheder. And you can break, in Hebrew, it's good to make that break. Hatalmidim b'cheder. So you clearly say one statement. The students, they're in the room. Okay? Hamoreh b'cheder. Hamoreh b'cheder. Okay? Alright, so if we were to look at this statement, see if we can figure this out. Reading from right to left, you just saw the Hebrew, Hamoreh. Now this is like in a play. This is what the teacher's going to say. Hamoreh, what does the teacher say?
Shalom.
Shalom. Now, forgive me, I lost my kamatz there. Shalom. Say there's our Mem Sophie. Shalom and Talmidim. So I say Shalom Talmidim. This is the last thing we'll finish. And then the Talmidim say Shalom. And then Hamoreh says what? Ma Shlomcha, Don. And then Don says, Beseder, I'm good. So here's the statement. The teacher says what? Shalom, Talmidim. What does the Talmidim say? Shalom. What does the teacher say? Ma Shlomcha. So now she talks to one student, or he talks to one student, Dan. And what does Dan say? Beseder. Everything's okay, but Seder and Seder, same root. Sidur, same root. Prayer book, the order of prayers. Seder, the order of the Passover. And Seder here is meaning in order. So Be-Seder means everything's in order. Now we just learned it as okay, but that's literally what it means is Beseder. Everything's in order. Everything's good. It's okay. All right? All right, so we'll close with that. I'd love to go more, but yeah, that's all I have for you today. Let's see if we continue some conversation next week. Let's see some conversations that Yeshua had. I wanted to have more of the I am statements for you. We'll do that next week. So let's close in prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, we thank you today, Lord God, for not only being able to conversate in the Hebrew tongue, but understand the language of the Hebrew tongue, so that we can understand the scriptures you've given us in the Hebrew tongue. So we can not only understand the prophets like Moses, Isaiah, and Jeremiah, but we can also understand the greatest prophet of all, the greatest teacher of all, the Messiah of Israel, King of kings and Lord of lords, Yeshua HaMashiach. We can understand his words, understand what he's saying to us. We can understand who he is. But when we see him as he is, we shall be like him. May we not only be like him, but we walk like him, pray like him, talk like him, communicate like him, have a heart for people like he did, and make disciples as he taught us to make disciples. In Yeshua's name we pray. B'Shem Yeshua. Amen. God bless you. Shavua Tov.
Yeshua Meshachenu, Ikubo, Halmai Machasenu.